All right, we're back with the Social Blue Book podcast. Leave us your comments below. What do you think we should call it? The Blue Cast, the Cast, the Podcast. I don't know. We'll think of something. Anyways, very exciting today. We are here with a YouTuber who has over 1 million subscribers and has been doing vlogs with his family for over 4 years now.
Yeah.
And you have like 1,500 videos, it looks like, around.
Coming up. Yeah,
it's a lot of videos. Do your kids ever, he has 5 kids too, so
yeah.
We're like daddy homies, you know. Do your kids ever watch your guys' old videos? Do you ever walk in and see them watching your old videos?
We maybe once a month will like sit down together and watch them, but
we should do that. That's a good idea. Like for family home evening, just sit down and watch like old videos as a family.
And then you get hooked in, and they keep wanting to watch. And we're like, oh, we're gonna stop it and go do something else. But
did you, when you were a kid growing up, did you guys film each other? Did you have VHS? You have home movies and stuff like that?
I mean, when I consider my YouTube experience, it begins with the VHS
on
camera.
Your shoulder.
Yeah, and I wanted to be a filmmaker because of that.
Oh, really?
Like home videos were so important to me. We did that all the time, and then my parents got divorced when I was about 12, and I would watch those just like over and over, and I was like, 1993 Christmas, you know, like I would watch it. And that trip we went on right before my parents got divorced, and when I found family vlogging, that was what like drew me in, was like, this is capturing the beauty of family, and and it just reminded me of those times. And I had worked at a motion picture studio, thought I was gonna go into film, but then saw that the industry was controlled by other people. And I was like, I don't wanna be a tool that's always being told what to do in film. And so decided not to do it. But when I found family vlogging, I was like, whoa, you're the editor, you're the producer, you're the star, you get to make the decisions and share what you want and have control over it. And so then the first family vlog I ever, like I remember the day, April 2nd, 2014, I found my first one. And I went to my wife, I was like, this is gonna change our life forever.
Really?
Because it combined my passion and the love of filmmaking, telling stories, and it could turn into a business. And so, that was the beginnings.
I always say it's like, I couldn't have scripted a better job for me, you know, like being a vlogger. It just lends to like what I think I'm good at, which is just talking, and what I love to do, which is being with my family. And to be able to have both of those. It's all about the tools, isn't it? It's like, before there was these gatekeepers, right? Like Hollywood, like you said, it's always, there would be somebody to tell you what to do. But now because of these cameras, and they're getting smaller, and we have so much more control. Like, I guess that's the epitome of the human species, is the tools that we use that make us stronger. And now you, like you said, you can be a whole production company by yourself.
Yeah, technology is the democratization of human experience.
There you go. Dude, that's a freaking tweet.
But
I'm gonna steal that.
No, but it's true, because we're opening our lives, our hearts, our pain, our sorrow, and sharing it in a way that you couldn't do it without the filters.
Right.
And that's what people resonate with. Like, that's what's beautiful.
So I have a question. Here's a societal question for you, JhouseVlogs. It seems like we're in a bad time right now. It seems like everybody, you know, it seems like there's a lot of animosity and stuff. My perception is that maybe that's not really true. Maybe we can just all see each other way more than we could before. Like, if somebody, you know, was bullied, or, you know, somebody got beat up, or there was a travesty that happened, you know, even 20 years ago, you wouldn't hear about it, you know, especially if it was in another part of the world, unless you know you're watching headline news, or you read it in like a world newspaper or something. Now it just seems like every bad thing that happens, we hear about. So my question is, are we, because you said right before that we're sharing our emotions, you know, the hardships, the good times, all that. Is that helping us as a society? Are we, I think, in fact, getting closer and more loving towards each other, or is it really just getting worse?
I think that we're evolving with the technology, but we're immature with it right now. And I think that choosing what to focus on is something we're trying to learn. You know, we're all addicted right now to our phones and social media, and we are still like toddlers that haven't learned how to handle that. But as an individual that's trying to be conscious and aware and like thoughtful of what to do with this mass information that's now available, that wasn't there for us when we were little kids watching The Cosby Show, we have to control and choose deliberately what we will focus on. So I can focus on the horror. I can focus on the terrible things. I can read all the negative comments. I can compare myself all day and feel terrible. Or like I keep next to my computer screen like the picture of the 4-year-old boy who's dying of cancer and the mom who sent me the thing saying like, you know, what we do after the surgeries is sit around and watch your family and have hope and meaning. And it's like, what am I choosing to focus on? And what meaning do I give it? We just aren't mature as a culture yet because it's so new to us.
I think that's very spot on. It's almost like you have to aggregate your timeline on purpose. Sometimes you have to unfollow people that attract that negativity or try to bring it into your timeline. Okay, so you have a very exciting company that you are starting. How long has it been now? Just barely?
Are you talking about the law firm?
The law firm thing.
Yeah, Johnston Law. We just hit our year mark in September.
So this is really cool. Jeremy told me about this at CVX Live. Basically, they're creating a law firm for YouTubers. Is that a good way to say it, or you should pitch your own business? But
yeah. Honestly, and this is going to catch Shay off guard, but we started a law firm, Johnston Law. My brother and I. He's an attorney, and it was my dream that we would always get to work together someday.
Okay.
And for the first year, we did represent YouTubers almost exclusively. That was like 90% of our income. But we are switching direction. Like, we aren't wanting to represent YouTubers going into the future for a lot of different reasons. It's that same kind of thing. You have to deliberately choose what to cut out. Right. What you say no to is more important than what you say yes to. I don't know if that made sense. But what you say no to is what's important in succeeding. Yep. And right now, the industry is pretty immature for creators. They're not sophisticated yet. They don't understand the value of attorneys, or there isn't the mass that we wanted. And we have another area that's providing a lot more opportunity. So I'm not like bringing on more clients right now or growing that area. But as a lawyer, it's been an amazing experience to be working with brands, to, you know, what was my view about MCNs? What's my view about agencies? What's my view about these contracts and how to work with YouTube as a trial attorney and looking at these contracts? You know, I continue to speak about that. I continue to help my friends with that. But as a business, we're not trying to grow that piece of it at all.
Okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were...
Well, no, that's totally fine.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because those services are needed, because a lot of these people who are just getting into this, they don't know how to do their taxes. You know, they don't realize there's a lot of things that can be deductible on your taxes. You know, you do daily vlogs. Hypothetically, anything in the video is tax deductible, right? Like, this is wardrobe. I went skiing. That was the expedition we went on. I mean, we've written off a lot on our taxes, and our accountant has become very savvy. And because he started working with us, he started working with a bunch of different YouTubers. So there are those services in the industry. So what are you most excited about right now then? Are you still trying to grow your channel, or you want to focus on the law firm more?
Honestly, one of the things that happens as a YouTuber and a creator is, you know, you struggle, you have dreams of what will happen. And for us, honestly, like, I remember watching your family and being like, that would be amazing to work from home, and my life is to document our story and to share that with the world. And more than what I had dreamt of happened. And then you find yourself at a tough spot of like, what do I do with the millions of opportunities now there? Yeah. Do I write a book? Do I do a podcast? Do I start more channels? How can we make more money? Which businesses should I start? And you're flooded with all the opportunity. Yep. And like, prayerfully, carefully, deliberately choosing which opportunity to do is the mission of my life right now. And honestly, like, what we did, like, we've been doing a lot of counseling. Like, I'm trying to fix a lot of the scars. We're really working on what kind of parents we are. Like, us being better people off of our vlog than on is more important to me than my next business venture.
Amen.
And so we've been putting a lot of time into that. And we have things in the pipe that I want to do. Like, if we could help families and help parents. My undergraduate was in family counseling. Like, I did child development and family counseling, and if we could give deliberate answers of what do you do when you're so angry that you want to spank your kids, or you're yelling, or when you lose control, what do you do with discipline? Like, these are so many questions that parents have that are so frustrating, and to give support, real guidance. And you know how Dave Ramsey is like taken the idea of financial freedom and he motivated it and made it very simple I mean, it's not like rocket science.
No.
Like,
Cut
spend
your credit
less.
cards up. Yeah, spend less than you make.
You know, and Tony Robbins similarly, like they're taking simple principles and motivating and helping people by spelling it out in a formula that makes sense. I would love to create systems like that for parents and for families and for the kids of how do we have a happy home and make family first. Like our demographic, what we want to listen to is how to make more money. You know, there's a million entrepreneurial podcasts out there.
Right.
How could we inspire and help our demographic to care more about praying over their kids at night and care more about what they're going to really regret at the end? And I don't know how you do that. You know, I don't know that you can do it overtly. Maybe it wouldn't work at all.
I disagree. I think it would work. I think you do it more than you know through the videos.
Well, I think that might be the most effective way. I mean, that's the problem.
Because you're not like teaching, like this is how you're better.
I know.
They're just watching you.
I know, but it's hard though because like our demographic, I'm talking about like the dads or the, you know, they're not the ones typically watching family vlogs. And I think it's true that the best preaching happens by example. I think there's no question about that. Like even, well, I was going to talk about the documentary I just watched was on Mr. Rogers, you know, Will You Be My Neighbor?
Great.
So inspiring of tons of crying. I was on the airplane, you know, like I'm on the airplane and like all the people.
I've cried in movies on the airplane before.
So I'm just like bawling and so impressed with his messaging. But I thought it was interesting that he tried to overtly go to the adults and it didn't work. Do you know what I mean? And so I saw that and that anxiety, that fear stepped in like, maybe that's what will happen when you try to do this for, you know, other people. And maybe I just need to keep doing what we're doing and be happy with that and say, hey, showing this, you know, because to me, the 13-year-old who writes, who's like, my parents just got divorced, you know, I'm getting moved away and I feel like there's no hope, like that we are giving that hope is so powerful and so amazing. You know, do I need to do more? That's the question. What am I going to do next? And what is the more I'm supposed to do? That's what I'm passionate about and I'm having so much angst over.
Right. Well, I think families are paramount. I think it is the core of our society, and any type of work or effort that is going towards helping families is changing the world. Yeah. No matter, you know, how successful or whatever you can quantify. Have you talked to
Yes, I have.
What's his name? Oh my gosh. Jared Shores?
Yeah.
Do you know what he's doing?
Yeah, for sure. I talked with their whole team.
Okay.
And you know, things I want to do match so much with what they're wanting to do.
Yeah.
And what's great is like the pie is big enough for all of us to do that, to try to help families. And
because what you said, I was like, yeah, that sounds like something Jared's doing. That's what I love about these events. It's like, oh, we're doing the same thing. He's doing that. You guys should team up. You know, like it's cool to like
discuss the challenges. Like, how do they get creators involved with what they're wanting to do of connecting with families? But the purpose is the same.
There's no education on how to be a good parent. I mean, there's books out there and stuff, but like, what popular podcast? I guess there's parenting podcasts, but there's nothing that seems like it's mainstream.
This is what I love about the Dave Ramsey example is that researchers, because I considered doing research, you know, in academia about social sciences, but the nerds aren't good at marketing. And, you know, the professors aren't getting it out. And there is research about parenting. There are answers about what works best, but the messaging isn't out. So to be the Dave Ramsey of that, to be the advocate of that, anyway, not that I'm like wanting to lift myself up to do that, but I think that's what the space needs is a voice or voices that are articulating it in a passionate way. And the thing about Dave Ramsey, he's as much a motivational speaker as giving the data. Because making change in life isn't about knowing something. There's a lot of information, but it's like, from what you said, do I have an inkling of a hope that I could actually stop treating my kids that way? And when it gets hard and when I'm screwing it up all the time, can I come back to that and try again? You know, that's what it's more about.
He says it, Dave Ramsey says it's 80% knowledge, 20% like doing. It's just like you have to do the things. It's easy to know what you're supposed to do, but to actually do it.
But in parenting, people don't even know. Like those answers aren't out there of like, what is the right way to parent? And you know, we have such a, with the millennials, I think we've taken such an approach that is misguided in a lot of ways where we're overprotective, where we're scared of making the mistakes of what our parents did, but we don't know what we are supposed to do. Anyway.
So, I'm going to ask you a personal question, and you don't have to say the brand. What's the most you've got paid for a brand deal ever?
I think the most was $40,000 on a brand deal.
How great is that? When you make one effort, what you probably made in a year. I remember when I was making $30,000 to $40,000 a year.
Yeah.
I'm living in southeastern Idaho. I was like, if I could get up to like 60, 70,000 a year, I'd be making it in this town because it's like a smaller, cheaper town.
Yeah.
But to be able to get $40,000 for one deal, what'd you do with that money?
I mean, it's funny because money sits there as a lot of what it does, and I waited to then pay taxes. You know what I mean?
I hate taxes.
But, I'm really passionate about the topic of valuation. As an attorney, like coming into the space, I think one of the biggest mistakes early creators are making is misunderstanding their value.
Yep.
They get too caught up in the numbers.
They undervalue themselves,
always.
creators?
And here's the reason why is just what you said. If someone comes to you with $5,000 and it's like, whoa, as a lawyer, I didn't get paid that much on my normal paycheck, I'm going to do it. But is that what the car is worth? Is that what the house is worth? And so one of the things I would preach and what I share with people, know your value. What is the fair market value for what you're doing? Because if you're underselling yourself, there is a cost on that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you can do 10 deals in a year and you undervalued yourself by 50%, that's a huge difference.
Because you hurt yourself later on. Because they're like, well, you did this deal for this much, why won't,
Entirely. So to me, like one of the things I love about Social Bluebook, and I used it for me, we were growing so fast. We had a point where we were doubling in size in months of time. And I remember we did a brand deal with Hallmark, and I was super excited. And they wanted to do another brand deal. It was like maybe Father's Day and then Mother's Day.
Yeah.
I never remember the timeline of that. My brain doesn't do that. But they came back the month later and they're like, hey, do you want to do it again for the same amount? And I was like, oh, we doubled in size, so we have twice the audience.
Right.
And they were like, no. You know,
they want to pay you the same.
We're not going to pay you more. And I'm like, well, we doubled in size. I sent them the Social Bluebook, and
good.
And they ended up not doing that deal because they didn't want to pay them more. But we've done 4 deals with them since where they did. Do you know what I mean? Like we held out.
You have to be able to say no and really mean it. And they'll be like, oh, they really said
but
no.
How I just said no to $5,000.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, that's insane.
Yep.
And so I think that is one of the biggest mistakes creators make. The other thing too is they don't understand that in traditional media, when they were making commercials, when they make commercials, Hallmark or whoever, they get the director,
so much money.
They get the camera guy, they pay the actors, they do all this stuff, and no one wants to see it.
Yeah,
no one wants to see it.
Ad, yeah.
I'm able to provide word of mouth marketing on steroids.
Yep.
Because I have a million friends who are watching, and the value of that, and they don't even have to create it. They don't have to do anything. They don't even have to have the audience, and I'm authentically integrating it into my family life in a way that, anyway, so creators understanding the value of what they do and then being bold enough. And I think one of the big myths is I don't want to be difficult to work with.
Right.
And it's like, no, being easy to work with is providing awesome content on time and meeting what you're supposed to do. But when I get a contract, I'm redlining everything. I'm like, oh, this isn't fair. This isn't accurate, And I mean, as a lawyer, like,
you do that.
That's what I do.
Right.
But that's not what makes me difficult to work with. That's what makes me a sophisticated partner.
Correct.
And saying, hey, I want what's in your best interest too.
Yeah.
You want to have authentic interaction with our audience. Your script that you gave us won't work.
Right, for us. Right.
Well, it won't work for our audience.
Right.
I'm wanting to do what's in your best interest, which is to have a meaningful connection with my audience.
Okay.
The way to do that is to let me tell you, I'm the expert of our audience. Yep. And so I've had to say no a lot. That's the main leverage you have. And for us, we do about 1 to 2% of the deals offered to us. We don't care about it that much. Like the other thing too is I see people doing so many brand deals that it hurts your audience, you lose your authenticity, you get overrun, you get tired. It's a ton of work, and it's not work. What are you going to do with that more money? Anyway, I don't mean to be like, I feel like I'm on like a soapbox.
No, I love it. You're saying, you are so right. I mean, for so long I've thought, here's creators, here's social influencers, and then here's like traditional. And I feel like the money is gonna switch like this, because you're so right as far as production costs on a mainstream, like a commercial. They spend millions of dollars on that. And the term you use that I love is word of mouth on steroids, because these people have watched you raise your kids.
They think they're in our family.
They trust you. You're like they're your internet dad.
Yeah.
And so when you take time to promote a product, you should value that, because you've built that audience, you've built that relationship. And that's what our goal at Social Bluebook is to empower the creators to not be afraid to ask for what they're worth. And
the problem though is you don't know what that is when you first start out. You have no idea. So I'm an attorney. I literally represented partnerships and deals and then went to court over these things. And it wasn't until a year or a year and a half of doing brand deals that I understood who the players were in the game. I knew that I was working with brands, but I didn't understand the role of the middleman. Who was connecting me with the brands? And that's the agencies, or sometimes MCNs also act as agencies.
Right.
And understanding their role, their interest in what they're doing is super important for creators to gain sophistication and to be able to help the balance of this ecosystem work of working with creators. So the way it works is the brands, they don't really know how to do social media marketing, but they know they have to because Procter & Gamble's doing it and everybody's doing it. And so agencies come and they do a sales pitch to them and say, hey, we can get you 2 million views. And all you got to do is pay us this big lump sum. And then the agencies, so the agency wants to get paid as much money as possible from the brand with as low of deliverables as possible because that's their goal. Then the agency wants to find creators who will meet those deliverables for as little payment as possible. It's not bad. They play an important role right now, but the balance is off. When you compare it with the middleman in buying a home, 3.5% for the middleman. Do you know what I mean? Like I have a home and I want to sell it. You have a buyer and the middle person, but that's after years and years and years of the system being worked out to what is that actually worth what that person doing. Right now, because the agencies are the most sophisticated in the industry, they're able to take advantage of the brand's lack of education and the creator's lack of understanding of their value. And so that's what's happening, and I would love for that equilibrium to get worked out. I would love for the sophistication to rise, but right now, and I mean, some things would have to change, like there needs to be transparency. So I really love some of the organizations, some of the agencies that are saying, we're taking 15%, like FameBit is doing that. And again, and there's things within even their contract where they're making more than you would think at times. But most of the time, you're working with an agency, and you may not even know you're working with an agency. Like you think you're working directly with the brand,
and you're not.
And the agency is taking more money than you're getting as the creator just for being in between. And so it's a problem that I don't know all the answers to, but the discussion needs to be happening among the creators. And maybe a guild is the answer. Like that's why the NFL players have a guild, and that's why actors have a guild. And you say then, look, we're only going to work with agencies that provide the transparency.
I love that.
And what happens too, which is even more frustrating, is that a big MCN or agency will have a deal, and then they go to other agencies to fulfill it. So you're working with two people in between you, and then you want to directly tell Hallmark or whoever it is, like, look, this is what we want, but it takes 3 weeks because it has to go to this agency, to them, and I mean, on the legal side, I've dealt with this when it blows up too, and I've done the demand letters and the threats and the problems, and it's one of the biggest problems, and SocialBluebook is part of the education and the answer to that.
I remember as a creator, when I would get brand deals, I'd be like, just let me talk to the brand. And they would never let me talk to the brand.
Because
like,
you might go
let me pitch myself.
over them later.
Yeah. So that is the goal of SocialBluebook, is a software that can take that middleman out, where the creator and the brand can just directly communicate and not even have to have a phone call. You can do it all through the software, and then you don't have to feel that awkwardness of like, oh, well, I want more than that. And then the brand's like, no, we're not, like the negotiation process. So
and that's the thing with negotiating, is that you feel like a bad guy if you're just saying, I want more.
You feel selfish.
But would you ever feel selfish in selling a car if someone came and asked you for $5,000 and you said the Kelly Blue Book is $10,000?
Why would I sell it to you for $5? Right.
That's the idea of SocialBluebook.
Exactly.
That's the idea, is saying, look, there's an independent organization that measures the value of these kinds of things. It says that I'm at this point. And I literally did that. That's how I went through until I was more sophisticated, where I had friends where I could be like, hey, Shay, what did you do on this deal? Or what did you do for that? And the truth is for us, like, we know we could do more and make more, but that's not our primary income as brand deals. We've put that kind of on the back burner because we don't want that to take over our life. And we care so much about the authenticity of our message, like the sacredness of what we're doing. We don't want to be tampered with.
That's a long-term way to have a happy life, because you will, I mean, there's definitely times where I've done brand deals where I'm like, why am I doing this? I do not want to do this brand deal. And so, I mean, I haven't done a brand deal it's been almost 2 years now. And mostly because I just want to promote my own brands. I saw that a long time ago. It's like, holy crap, these companies like GE and the Weather Channel and just a number of, big corporate people that I've worked with before, they're willing to pay me all this money to promote their product. why don't I just start coming up with my own products?
Yeah.
Like, I want to create things that I like. I've always loved clothing, like North
watermelon
Face,
socks.
watermelon socks, what do you name it? It's like, just have your own products. I've thought that for years, like, why isn't there a PewDiePie Cola or, you know, a Philip DeFranco whatever, or, you know, a Shay Carl vlog cam, like that kind of stuff is happening. Well, listen, everybody follow Jeremy on the social medias. Check out his YouTube channel. They do daily vlogs with his wife and his beautiful children. And it's all about family. I think intrinsically that's what we as people all want. I mean, that has been the biggest reoccurring comment on all of our vlogs for the last 10 years is, I've always wanted a family like this. I've always wanted to have this happy family. And I don't think it's something that we learn. I think it's something that's just in us. And we're meant to be in families. So my hat's off to you for being a good example of a healthy family.
Thanks to you guys for leading the way of opening the genre. I mean, I am indebted to...
Sometimes I worry about it. I'm like, what did we do? Like, are
you
some
opened
people...
the door for my career. Like, I wouldn't have done it
I
but
need 10%,
for that.
Jeremy. I just sometimes worry that I just hope people aren't exploiting their children. That's what I mean. You know, it's like, I've seen people comment like, I'm going to have a baby so I can vlog it. I'm like, oh my hell, no. Do not make a child so you can put it on camera. Yeah. But, I mean, I really believe that families are the way, and that Social Bluebook is the software that will help you make more on your brand deals instead of giving it all to the agencies. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
This has been awesome. I appreciate all you said. So
it was fun.
you. Follow him, links below.